I'm not gonna lie, yeah. That Chelsea result is so funny. Like I've I've actually been laughing most of the game because after that game against Arsenal, where Chelsea played like it was the World Cup final, you know, the hype that they played with, the passion, the aggression, you know, the happiness after the result. For them to go and do that against Leeds is actually peak comedy. They got outfought in every department by Leeds. When you think about the energy they played with against Arsenal, could you probably say that's the reason why they didn't have the energy today? I don't know, because Maresca even made 5 changes. Maybe that was too much for them. But when you look at the way Leeds played like how Chelsea played against Arsenal with that fire, dominated the midfield. You know, obviously Chelsea are missing Reece James. Then they're missing Caicedo. So you have Enzo in there. You have Andre Santos in there. And they got dominated. They got dominated in midfield by Ampadu, by Tanaka, by, what's the other guy's name? Statch. I thought Leeds were superior in that game. And now the statistics are going to say Chelsea had most of the possession, of course. But if you look at the other statistics, more shots by Leeds, more shots on target, they were the team that when you're looking at it, you're thinking to yourself, they can even go and score more. They can go and score more. Now, as I said, Maresca made 5 changes. Was that too much? Possibly, but I understand it. You look at someone like Reece James, he can't play. Well, you'd think he can play back-to-back games at this stage, right? You would think he can, but he clearly he couldn't. Clearly he couldn't. And then you even saw frustrations kicking in with Chelsea. You look at the way Esteval kicked out, and then he got subbed at halftime again. I don't think Andre Santos did anything in this game, but the main concern is that back two with Badiashile and Tosin. You know, obviously I had Chalobah at right back. That didn't work. That back four, it didn't work today. It didn't work. Tosin, we're going to speak about that moment for the goal. But this is why just the other day when I said Chelsea are here to stay, but they need to are here to stay if they sign these certain players. I think they need a goalkeeper. People are going to say Robert Sanchez has been good. Okay, fair enough. But a centre-back is needed. A proper centre-back. I think when you have Tosin and these guys, you need someone that's a proper leader in there. And that's going to take the levels a little bit higher, right? I don't think people like that, Badiashile, Tosin, I can't even remember, Chalobah, these guys are all come in. They all come into the team. But I think Chelsea still needs someone that's going to be their proper stalwart. You can't guarantee that from Fofana. I think with Fofana's at his best, he's at the highest level, but you cannot guarantee that from him. And that's because of his fitness. Do you know what I mean? Because of his fitness simply. And as I said, I think Chelsea still need a proper striker. You know, you look at Liam Delap. I am so disappointed in Liam Delap. I had high hopes for the guy. You know, I thought when he went to Chelsea, it's going to be good for him. But so far, he's been a poor signing, in my opinion. And he's someone that I thought could potentially make the World Cup squad to be, you know, in the squad, in and around. But at this rate, it doesn't seem like you're going to see that. You know, I mean, he's providing pretty much next to nothing at the moment. You know, no quality. Like, even when he's getting his shots off, they're going way over. They're going way wide. He just doesn't look like he suits the team at the moment. But the thing is, one thing I would say is that a lot of his runs that I do see him make do get ignored because he wants to make them direct runs. But with them direct runs, you're basically playing channel balls or you're playing percentage balls. And not big teams don't really like doing that when they're trying to dominate the game. That's the reality. Now, it just shows how quickly things can change in a week. Because I think, for example, you look at Esteval, super talent. But then maybe this is why Maresca is kind of managing his minutes. Come in, come out, because now you're looking back-to-back weeks he's been taken off. I mean, games he's been taken off now. Was it his fault to be taken off against Arsenal? Probably not. But he had moments in that game where you looked at it and you thought to yourself, Esteval is the right sub to make, should I say. But I still have faith in him. He's a top young talent, you know, but of course, as I said, we need to chill out with the Lamine Yamal comparisons. Neto obviously came on and scored, but I want to talk about 2 people, right? I want to talk about 2 people in this team, and I do think Maresca got this game wrong. I'm going to give a shout to Leeds because of the way they competed. But there's two people that I'm looking at, right? Jamie Gittins, he got the assist, but in the end, Jamie Gittins is Jamie Gittins. You know what I mean? I don't think you're going to get super high quality from him. I think he's still settling into the league as well. But I want to talk about Enzo Fernandez and I want to talk about Joao Pedro. This is why when I kept saying, Enzo Fernandez, the Kevin Nolan role, and everyone's laughing about it, but I'm being serious. Enzo Fernandez at his best when he's able just to box crash and get in there. But I think when it comes to real midfield work in this Premier League, I don't think Enzo's a top-level midfielder. I think a lot of times, a lot of people are putting him in these conversations that I don't think he belongs in. And another game today, I thought he's playing in centre midfield. You would think, okay, get a hold of it with Andre Santos. And I think the game just went past him. And then in the end, he starts doing his, he starts running into people. He starts playing with all his passion, which I understand. But at the same time, when it comes to the real midfield work, I don't have him up there with the best in the league. I think, as I said, if Reece James is playing in midfield, Caicedo, and then Enzo's able to run off, amazing. But I don't think when you look at him in the real midfield CM positions, I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan. And when I think about it, like with Cole Palmer, when he gets fit, you can argue Chelsea's three best players were out today. Well, you can't argue. Their three best players were out today. Reece James, Caicedo, and Cole Palmer. Obviously, he came on. But you look at when Cole Palmer comes back into the team, and this is something that I asked Maze on FCM. When Cole Palmer comes back in, does that mean Enzo drops into centre midfield with Caicedo? So it's Caicedo, Enzo, and Palmer. For me, you lose something there. You lose something, Or is Palmer going to play off the right-hand side? But I think with Cole Palmer in the team, obviously you need him playing. What does that mean for Enzo Fernandez's position? Because as I said, I'm not a big fan of Enzo and Caicedo next to each other. I think Enzo is best when he's really good when he gets into them areas, into the box, and is able to score goals. But in this centre midfield role, I don't know. I don't think he's got the engine. I don't think he's enough of a controller. I don't think he's a metronomic player. I just look at him and I think, okay, pretty basic. So that's a concern. But that's not even my big one right now, right? Because I'm going to give him the credit and the benefit of the doubt that he's actually been playing well this season. I want to talk about Joao Pedro. Joao Pedro. I don't even know his stats this season. I don't care to check for it. Because my eyes are telling me something. This guy right now is going down as one of the biggest disappointments this season when you consider the hype from the Club World Cup. When Joao Pedro signed for Chelsea, I thought good signing. I'm a fan of the player. I like him, actually. I likened him to Gabriel Jesus in terms of a player that, he can play off the top, but he likes to drop deep. He likes to run around. He likes to get involved in all aspects of the game. And then when he went to the Club World Cup and he started showing some real number 9 play, I'm seeing him score headers. You saw him score a header against West Ham. You saw the way he started. He brought life into Chelsea. And I thought, wow, he's got the platform now to go off and be incredible. But each week when I'm actually watching with my eyes, again, I don't know what his statistics are. And I'm not even going to check because I'm not going to let it sway me. I'm just seeing a player run around, do nothing. I'm just seeing a player that's just out there running around. What did Russell Westbrook say about He's tricking y'all. He running around doing nothing. Like to the point where sometimes I'm seeing him in the way of plays. I'm like, what are you doing there? Then he's not in the box. And then he's not a prolific goal scorer, which we knew from Brighton anyway. There's no real synergy or link up with Delap. But then I don't see him have a real connection with anyone in the team in terms of the attacking players. When you look at him, you're probably thinking he's meant to be in that kind of like glue. He brings it all together. Bobby Firmino's and Gabriel Jesus and these type of guys that if they're playing off the top, they can drop in, make things happen, be the glue. But then they can also get you some goals when you need to. I'm looking at him and I'm like, he's offering. I don't see what he's offering. He's literally just running around out there. He is just running around out there. At least when Gabriel Jesus was doing it, he was making impact. He elevated Arsenal. So when I look at Joao Pedro, and people have to be honest, don't turn around and say, oh, this is harsh. No, because once that preseason happened or the Club World Cup and he started the season well, we thought, whoa, how many goals is he going to score for Chelsea? What level is he gonna achieve? People are putting him in top 5 strikers, top 3 strikers in the league after Haaland and Isak. People were putting him. Let's be honest. Let's have it right. Let's not beat around it. So that's why for me, in terms of disappointment, I'm not going to call him the flop of the season. There's been bigger flops. We know that. But disappointment in terms of what I thought he was going to do this season and to what he's doing now, right now, Joao Pedro is up there, my biggest disappointments of the season. And I'm not being, look, I have Cunha somewhere in and around that as well. So people don't turn around and say, oh, I'm just trying to be. No, I'm really disappointed with Joao Pedro. And I'm looking at games like this. What's he doing out there? What's he doing out there? And he played the full 90. He doesn't even get chances. You know, Gabriel Jesus was getting chances, missing chances. He doesn't even get chances. Like, anyway, shout out to Leeds, though, man. That is such a big result for the gaffer. Big result. What a goal that was by, was it Tanaka? Beautiful goal. Out the feet, bang. Out the feet, bang. Just straight, lovely goal. Absolutely lovely goal. The goal, the header in the first one, some people are blaming Sanchez, but I think the ball went past him before he could even dive. I think that was a really good header by Bijou. And then obviously the toss-in mistake at the end. That's just a lack of concentration. Pass from Gusto. You got to get that under control and play. He slept, and then GCL ends up getting his goal. Chelsea wanted a free kick for it, but I don't think that was a free kick. I want to give a massive shout to Ampadu. I thought Ampadu was really good today. He competed well. And he's kind of had a second coming of his career. Because there was a second where you looked at Ampadu and you thought, if anyone knew him at Chelsea, really, really, for me, when I looked at him at Chelsea and I saw him in the unders teams, I thought this guy's going to go on to be a really good player. Like, I was a fan of Ampadu. I'm sure Wales fans probably agree. But then he kind of lost his way. He went on loans. He went to Leipzig. He went to this team. He went to that team. He went to Venezia. He went to Sheffield United, which I thought he was okay at. But Leeds seems to have been his home now. And he's in that midfield role. I know he was playing centre-back early as well, right back. But the Leeds seems to be his home. And he's actually just anchoring that midfield. And I've liked him this season. And I actually think he's one of them players that if Leeds do go down, he will get another move to the Premier League. I'm actually really impressed with Ampadu, man. Captaining the team against Chelsea, his former side. And I thought that performance was really good. And he's maybe one of them players that slip into the underrated radar, man, into underrated kind of discussions. I like Ampadu and I like the performance today, man. Honestly, like really wholehearted, but also cool. That's the thing about him. He's also cool. And he's also got technical qualities. You can see that kind of reason why he was playing for those Cobham teams and stuff like that. So big shout out to Ampadu. But this is Chelsea, man. This is a really disappointing result. Super disappointing result, in fact. Like, you're meant to be in a title race. Meant to be in a title race. And look, the World Cup final against Arsenal has come and gone. The World Cup, I thought it was the World Cup final the way they played. But maybe they celebrated it like it was the World Cup final and reality has hit. Reality has hit and now Chelsea sit. Where did Chelsea sit in the table? They sit fourth because Aston Villa won. So Chelsea are way out. Well, Chelsea are 9 points off. Is it 9? 9 points off Arsenal. So you see how quickly the table can change. You see how quickly the table... to the fact that if Manchester United win tomorrow, they go joint points with Chelsea. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that tomorrow. My morning drop. So you guys know, 8:30 a.m., be there. You know I'm going to drop something. But anyway, back to that. Listen, I think Maresco got it a bit wrong today, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he has to say. But let's talk about Liverpool. Liverpool won, Sunderland won. And, you know, I was watching that game and I'm going to be honest, you know, a lot of people that watch the game, a lot of these people that we call ourselves analysts or YouTube, whatever, they have definitive outcomes of every game. You know, you feel like you have to have a massive statement after every game. But when I look at Liverpool, right, I genuinely don't understand what they are this year. And I'm trying to put my finger onto why Liverpool are not as good as they are this season. And I just can't put my finger on it sometimes, you know, but I do see a level of players that have dropped off massively, which we have spoken about all season. You look at someone like McAllister, who's going under the radar, someone that's jumped off a cliff. He looks like, honestly, he looks old as hell. He looks old as hell. You know what I mean? He looks like if they brought flipping Steven Gerrard might be better than him right now. Steven Gerrard, I saw a charity game the other day that Gerrard was playing pings to Drogba. Yo, Gerrard might be able to be better than McAllister right now in 2025. they might have to get the band together because he's looking like an OAP pensioner. And this is the Premier League. Yo, the athletic league. You know what I mean? The league for athletes. And I don't know what he did in the preseason. I don't know that tea that they be drinking. What's in there? Matcha or something. Whatever's in there. Yo, I don't know if it's giving him a belly or what's starting to his hammies. But the guy is moving very, very, very sluggish. And it's a back-to-back games that Salah has been dropped. Back-to-back games. He came on. Obviously, they conceded after that, but I'm not going to blame him or anything. He came on, didn't really have much of an impact, and he goes off for the AFCON in 11 days, and Liverpool are going to have to see what they are without a Mohamed Salah. I saw Szoboszlai taking shots after shots. Honestly, Szoboszlai takes like 100 long shots a game, honestly. Florian Wirtz was trying his thing. Of course, they're not going to give him that goal, so he's still searching for that goal because that shit was going wide. That shit was going wide. And fair enough to him. He didn't even bother celebrate. He went back to his spot. Another game, Isak doing absolutely nothing. You know, he scored the other day against West Ham. But this ain't Newcastle Isak. And more scrutiny and more eyes need to be on that. Because in a game like this, where again, Mo Salah's not playing, Isak is up front. They're basically saying, yo, you and Vert are the leaders of this team now. And Isak is not grabbing that. Ekitike comes off the bench. He hasn't... What was his record? Probably at 1 goal in his last 13, 14. His rhythm is completely gone now. Completely gone. And I'm looking forward to seeing, as I said before, how long is this going to last with this Isak Ekitike thing? With Salah going, was that mean more minutes? I don't know. But I thought Sunderland... is not, one thing that Arne Slot is going to be in trouble for is that he's turning Anfield into a comfortable ground. Sunderland never really looked phased at Anfield. They were kind of comfortable. And they could have won the game at the end. As well as Liverpool could have won the game at the end, they could have. What a recovery that was from Federico Chiesa. What a recovery to stop Isidore. What a recovery. But at the end of the day, when you look at Liverpool, when you look at Anfield, it's dull. Everything about Liverpool right now is dull. Even the reactions when a goal goes in, it looks like they're fed up. It's dull. The players, are they playing? But can they raise themselves even if the manager left? I don't know. When you know the season's gone and you know the title is gone and you're a big team like this, you might just end up packing it in. But I want to talk about Virgil van Dijk. Now, you guys are going to be able to talk my whole season, but I'm sorry. Virgil van Dijk. How long are you going to be backing away from challenges? Virgil van Dijk, you have been backing away from challenges for so long. You gave the ball, Van Dijk gave the ball away, right? He gave the ball away, and instead of the instant reaction, giving the ball away, engaging, getting the ball back, he's backing off. By the way, there was nobody for him to back off for because the other guy was occupied by Kirkes or Robertson, whoever it was. Van Dijk needed to engage in that moment, but he watched the player shoot and it hits off him, goes in. This ain't coincidences. You've got to engage. And a lot of people might point to his age. No, because when you guys are talking about go, this, John Terry was winning leagues at this age. Rio Ferdinand was winning leagues at this age. Rio Ferdinand was a generational centre-back talent. From West Ham to breaking the transfer record to go to Leeds, to breaking the transfer record to go to Manchester United as a defender. He had been doing this from a teenager. And into these late years, he went and won the Premier League in 2013 at the same age. Team of the year. At the same age, team of the year. Better, younger, the longevity, but then go. Nah. We can't flip the script, people. We cannot flip the script. Van Dijk is still an athlete. He should be doing better in these positions. This season, he has been so bad, people. So bad. And a lot of people bring up tapes of Vidic getting cooked by Carlton Cole or Rio getting cooked by Bale. Let these tapes be remembered. Let these tapes be remembered, because one thing that happens is everything is GOAT in this era now, because people can't bother to go back and watch, or they weren't there to go back and watch. Gotta remember these things. As I said, as a leader this season for me, ain't been it. But I look at Liverpool and there's not really much to say for me. same old. In fact, the 1-1 at this point is a good result. 1-1 at this point is a good result. You know? But let me know what you guys think the problem is with Liverpool. Florian Wirtz got 90. Szoboszlai got 90. Gravenberch got 90. They're going to be really 3 key players going forward, especially with Mo Salah out. Those are probably 3. Those are going to be stalwarts, because I think Isak and Ekitike are going to be moving around. Gakpo is going to be moving around. McAllister's going to be moving around. But I think Florian Wirtz, Szoboszlai, and Gravenberch are going to be playing most games. So we got to be looking at them in the next few weeks. But what we're seeing, guys, is these back-to-back games. Now, it's getting to Christmas. Everybody's squads are going to be used. Arsenal's performance was even okay. It was okay. Brentford started getting into it. So we're going to see squads are going to be used and are going to be running thin. You know what I mean? So let's see how it goes. We're seeing some really leggy performances. Shout out to Aston Villa. My boy, Andre Onana. Man City. Oh, my name's not Andre. My boy, Amadou Onana. With technically the winner, because he made it 3-2. And Ollie Watkins back. Winter Watkins is a problem, you know. You know he goes on these streaks. Winter Watkins. Guys, like, share, subscribe, turn your notifications on. It's your boy, CultureCams. Let me know what you guys think. The Premier League is heating up. Where am I United in the table? What can we do? I'm out. Peace.